Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Peak Property Podcast. I'm Lee O'Brien, here with my colleague and business partner, David Kirby.
Morning.
And today we wanted to talk to you about, big question, should we scrap stamp duty permanently? Reason is following up on a news article from this week, and it came out from a think tank called the Institute of Economic Affairs, a well-respected government think tank, and they have said that, and they have appealed to the government that we scrap the tax for good. Alexander Hammond of the Institute of Economic Affairs states that the duty causes so many distortions in the market, the government should consider axing it. He says, partly as a consequence of this distortive policy, more than 50% of UK households are under-occupied. It's a fair point. It's something to consider. I know people have thrown it around, and we've just come out the back of a big stamp duty change, and obviously which has probably prompted the thoughts. So we just wanted to talk about that with you today.
Yeah, of course.
Big one, really, Dave. What is stamp duty land tax?
Absolutely. So stamp duty is a tax you pay when you buy a house. So when people transact to move, it works on a percentage basis of what the value of that purchase is. So it's not relevant to your income or anything like that. It's just what's the value of that house? How much do you pay? And you pay a percentage of that as a tax to the government. Yeah, so that's what it is.
So the problems with stamp duty. So, as you said there, at present, everybody pays the same, based on a property value, no matter what their circumstances. But this means it can be quite prohibitive for people, and potentially stops people moving up within the chain, as well as people moving down. So, why is that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously moving up, a valid point that me and Lee were chatting about earlier, you can't finance it. So it needs to be paid on completion through your solicitor. So you might have a bit of equity in your house, so you can use that, but then that reduces your equity, and that's your cash. So yes, it can be a challenge. Certainly upsizers, you've got to find this 15, 20, 25 grand from somewhere, whether it be in equity or in your savings. And from a downsiser's point of view, the idea probably of downsizing for a lot of people is to release equity. Well, if you then lose some of it through stamp duty, makes that downsize potentially not quite as attractive as what it could be.
And I wonder if that would be a big blocker. You know, people they're worried that couples are living in homes that are far too big for them, and they should be releasing these homes to families that are moving up through the process, and whether not parting with 20, 30, 40 or more £1,000 worth of stamp duty bill might give them that encouragement to move rather than actually paying that out in tax.
Yeah, and I think it's obviously come to fruition and come out in the press because through what has been a massive pandemic, as an industry and certainly as a business, David Lee have had the biggest, busiest, most successful year we've ever had as a company. So a lot of people have moved house, and one of the big changes was because stamp duty was abolished up to £500,000. So big change, and has made that market go. So is there another way of bringing this tax in what could be seen as a slightly more fairer way?
Yeah, because I think the government have become so used to those tax credits, those bills come in year after year as house prices grow. That means the bill grows because it grows within proportion. So the receipts for stamp duty are phenomenal.
And absolutely.
I don't think that this government is in any place to be turning off any sort of tax receipts at the moment. I think a complete abolishment. Pretty unlikely, but certainly an adjustment or maybe a revision of the scheme
how
itself.
They calculate it.
So
big discussion.
People have said it's preventative to first-time buyers, but first-time buyers do have an exemption, and that lasts beyond the current stamp duty adjustments that have been made out the back of the COVID pandemic. So stamp duty is not payable by first-time buyers on purchases up to 300,000. So they only pay stamp duty on any element above that. So certainly in our area of the world, that's definitely first-time buyer territory. I know as you move into London and more expensive areas of the country, 300 doesn't necessarily get you exactly what you want. So again, dependent on where you are in the country, it's fair in some areas than it is in others. But be really interested to find out from the audience really as to what's your opinion on stamp duty. Do you think it should be abolished entirely? Maybe if it is abolished, what would they replace it with? And let us know in the comments. We'd love to start a discussion on it and to see what your thoughts are. And so stamp duty, should it be abolished? Thanks so much for joining us this week. Please remember to like and subscribe to the channel. You'll be getting all of our latest updates. Great update this week on the YouTube channel. We've been receiving over 25,000 views of the channel in a 90-day period. So it's a sort of analytic that comes from us to us from YouTube. They're getting some great transaction, and we actually have secured our first deal off of YouTube without it going to the major portals. So please remember, if you are keen and looking for property, subscribe to the channel. You will get notified of all of the latest properties before they hit the portals, and the competition ramps up again. So subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a great Sunday. Thank you.
Bye.